all have an inner voice. The voice can provide you with ideas, insights and understanding, but it can also speak to you in a way that you wouldn't dream of doing with another person. It can demoralise, demotivate and be so full of self-hatred and self-criticism that it leads to anxiety or depression. In this video, I will share the origins of your critical inner voice and how to master it. Let's look at an example. Tracy tells herself, "I'm defective, I'm worthless, and I'm a loser." This inner dialogue has a huge impact on how Tracy interacts with others. Her self-esteem is rock bottom and she has never made friends because she feels so worthless. So where does Tracy's inner dialogue come from? As a child, Tracy was brought up by her mother, who was emotionally abusive. On a daily basis, her mother told Tracy, "There's something wrong with you, and you're nothing." There are many, many more critical messages from her mother, and over time, Tracy absorbed these messages and they became part of her own internal critical voice. Introducing the theory. I'm a psychotherapist. I'm going to share some theories so you can get a better understanding on what's going on with Tracy. Within the school of psychotherapy called Transactional Analysis, or TA, it's proposed that you have three distinct parts of your personality, known as parent, adult and child. These parts are called ego states, and each ego state consists of a set of behaviours, thoughts and feeling, and reflects a different way you interact with the world and those around you. For example, when you are in your parent ego state, you are behaving, thinking and feeling in ways copied from your parents or parental figures. You may be nurturing and caring, or you may be controlling or critical. When you are in your child ego state, you're behaving, thinking and feeling as you did when a child. You may be playful, spontaneous, or you may be fearful and overly compliant. And when in your adult ego state, you're behaving, thinking and feeling in ways which are a direct, here and now response to events around you. You are logical, assertive and concerned with facts and data. As you can see, the parent and child ego states are divided, but the adult ego state is not divided. Now, there is no good or bad ego state. The idea is that the ego states are in balance and you can move freely between them. I have an in-depth video on ego states and the link is in the description below. Working with the critical inner voice. So where does your critical inner voice come from? Well, Tracy's harsh, self-critical inner voice is coming from her critical parent ego state. Like many depressed people, this dominates her internal dialogue. Tracy's critical parent is internally communicating with her adapted child, which in turn responds with shame, guilt, despair and a sense of worthlessness. That's because Tracy's adapted child accepts the messages from her critical parent as truth. This in turn fuels her depression and sense of worthlessness. So Tracy's critical parent and adapted child dominate. So as a psychological therapist, I want to strengthen her adult, nurturing parent and free child, which will bring balance to her personality. Now, if you remember at the beginning of this video, I said no ego state is bad. It's about all ego states being in balance and being able to move freely between each ego state. The dialogue between the parent, adult and child ego states is pre-conscious, which means that it can be easily brought into conscious awareness. After first educating Tracy on the ego state model, the next stage is to invite her to listen to the inner voice of each ego state. This can be challenging at first, so I would invite Tracy to just listen to the internal dialogue for a week or two and to simply notice it. Next, I would initiate an analysis of the dialogue in terms of its historical origin. So we already know Tracy tells herself, "I'm defective, I'm worthless, and I'm a loser." I might ask, did anyone actually say that to you? Does that remind you of anyone? Or how did you come to that conclusion about yourself? This may help Tracy understand that her critical parent is made up of messages she absorbed from her mother's critical parent ego state. This insight can be really powerful. Via this process, Tracy's also acknowledging adult facts about her own parent ego state, which strengthens her adult and makes her critical parent messages less sticky. How to strengthen the adult ego state. Now, as a psychotherapist, I really need to help Tracy to develop that logical, data-driven side to her personality. I would therefore ask the following targeted Socratic questions. Is there another point of view? Are you paying attention to only one aspect of the situation? Are you misinterpreting the evidence? Are you making assumptions? So I'm asking the questions for my adult ego state and directing my questions to Tracy's adult ego state. This line of questioning mobilises her adult by inviting complementary adult-to-adult interactions. The adult ego state lives in the here and now, whereas the parent and child ego states live in the past or future. So by raising Tracy's awareness of the here and now, I'm strengthening her adult. Using the diagram as a guide, she can try to notice when she is in the here and now, when she's in the past, and when she's in the future. When she has noticed she's moved out of the here and now, she can consciously bring herself back to the present. The more she practices being an adult in this way, the more familiar and habitual it will become. How to strengthen the nurturing parent ego state. There are many models of psychotherapy, and compassion-focused therapy, also known as CFT, offers some great exercises for developing the nurturing parent ego state. In CFT, this part of the personality is called the compassionate self. One of my favourite CFT exercises is called kindness to self. It involves gentle relaxation coupled with the use of nurturing self-talk. There are many CFT exercises that will develop the nurturing parent ego state. I've actually made over 10 videos dedicated to these exercises, and I've added links in the description below so you can try them out for yourself. How to strengthen the free child ego state. Tracy's free child ego state is very weak. She doesn't have any friends and has no hobbies. However, her sister has 2 dogs and Tracy loves playing with them and taking them for walks. Obviously, we want to encourage Tracy to continue to engage with her sister's dogs, as this is the only way she's currently mobilising her free child. But now that her adult and nurturing parent are strengthened, she can start to think about some free child activities such as taking a day trip, creating some art, listening to music and so forth. There are lots and lots of things she can do here. All this takes is imagination and lots of practice. So you can see that I'm using multiple theoretical concepts to establish a more detailed understanding of Tracy's depression and inform the treatment approach. Now, depression is different for everyone, so it's important to tailor the case formulation and treatment plan to the needs of each individual client. And please recognise this video is a very small snapshot of how I might work with Tracy. Now, as part of the ongoing therapy process, I would certainly be analysing Tracy's life script. This is an unconscious program or blueprint that you develop in early childhood. If you would like to learn more about the life script, please click on the video on the screen now. And if you would like me to make more videos like this, please give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you soon.